Maneva na say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
This program will walk out of here. And any citizen has a case of thievery or a case about subversion of the national interest, and he gives it to you. You, Moro, yes. You haven't been appointed by any president. You don't have any capacity in the Attorney General's office and so on. And you call the police and tell them that this is the information I have. Can't it be investigated?
Of course it can be.
So what is the former Attorney General talking about?
But Uncle, we should also be asking ourselves that the chap who brought the documents to me, why didn't he find it expedient to go and give it to the police directly? Why give it to me? Shouldn't that raise some questions about the kind of
may well be that he doesn't have any confidence in the institution.
But that's what the problem is.
That's not the problem in this case. The former Deputy Attorney General is saying that there's a defect because persons who made the complaint did not go to establish this institution. I'm saying that there's no defect. The Constitution actually even gives citizens the power to arrest.
True.
You understand? Yes. Citizens like you and I, we even have the power to arrest. So that argument is such a bad argument that it should not be repeated anywhere. My concern is that any citizen against whom an allegation is made must be held innocent until proven guilty before a competent court. That's the maxim. You can make any allegation, every allegation against any citizen, whether it's from the NPP or the NDC, no problem. But guilt is proven in a competent court. That's the rule. And if we apply that rule, we'll be fine. Then again, we must respect the rights of citizens. And what are the rights of citizens? For example, even in criminal cases, when you go before the police, before you are charged, you are told that you have the right to remain silent. That right must be upheld. You have the right to a counsel of your own. That right must be upheld. If all of these rights are upheld, and at the end of the day, a competent court decides that, my friend, you have looted, we need to take the loot from you. Yeah. You need to bear the sanctions for looting. You understand what I'm saying? If you, let me sound tautological, if you yourself you see the allegation which has been made against you and you know that there's merit in it, as for example, having acquired land at cantonments for 30,000 or 40,000, why? If you are sensible, if you want your peace of mind, if you want to save the state, huge expenditures, and so on and so on, you go and they say, look, yes, I recognize that what I did was not proper. Therefore, I'm offering to pay the difference between the actual price and what I paid for it.
In fact, Blackpast says, the chairman of the oral committee, says some of them have called.
It gives you the peace of mind. Really. Master, it gives you the peace of mind. It saves the state from this useless expenditure of time and resources and so on. And you can have your land.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if, and I get very angry at some of the practices, Master, you see, even the colonialists, when they built what then was the senior officer, the white-only hospital, Ridge Hospital, and so on, were sensible enough to appreciate that they needed medical personnel around the hospital for emergencies and so on. So, medical personnel were deliberately put around the hospital, even the colonialists. After independence, after so many years, governments came and decided to sell the properties which were housing medical personnel, give them to businessmen to construct all kinds of funny buildings and so on, and push the doctors out to the extent that some of the doctors are staying in Kasua and so on. So when there's an emergency, imagine a doctor coming from Kasua to an emergency. Because some of these things don't make sense at all. You remember this doctor, this professor of medicine, who handled the conjoined twins, the twins who were joined at the head, Professor Kaba. He and his wife, who was a senior personnel, also at the Rich Hospital, were living in Laboni. They were given 2 weeks to pack out of their house because the house had been sold. So this doctor, so critical for our health service and so on, had to move within 2 weeks to Pokuasi. So if there's a huge national emergency and so on, you're going to move him from Pokuasi to Rich Hospital. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
These are criminal acts. You understand? That we should not condone. Now, if you become somebody, and I don't want to use the titles because it may be too leading, you understand? And then, in a twinkle of an eye, in an 8-year period or 4-year period, you or your relatives take possession of a number of government bungalows in Laboni and pull them down, and you build monstrous structures there. Are we supposed to be applauding you? The same principle which goes for the hospitals also goes for the civil service. The earlier government had the wisdom to position civil servants in key positions so that government can be run, over a certain time and so on. And that's why civil servants were placed in places like Laboni, airport residential area, cantonments, and so on. They've sacked the civil servants. You understand? And giving them to their friends and relatives and so on. And these civil servants are living in Sawam. Imagine coming to work to Accra in Osu Ministries from Sawam and going back after 5 p.m. every day. But these are criminal acts. Quite apart from the fact that the lands were sold very cheaply. And against existing protocols about land and so on. It just made government business so burdensome. You understand? One of the newly appointed ministers went before vetting. I hope all of you will remember. And he was asked about allocation of government lands. He said, anytime we worked on the lands commission, lands committee, we were offered land to show appreciation for the work that we have done. Member of Parliament, taking your salary as a member of Parliament. You work on lands committee and they show appreciation by giving you government lands. So please, I think we should take this oral business seriously and point out the need to respect the law and to respect citizens' rights, but not just throw it away or poo-poo it, and so on. Yeah. Because there is some merit. And we should separate, as they say, the wheat from the chaff.
Right.
Because there's a lot of wheat in there.
Yep.
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.